He was thrown out into the icy night, right before New Year's. They just closed the door and left the old man outside. He sat on the cold bench. Snow clung to his hair, to his eyelashes, to his breath. He breathed heavily, like a man who no longer had a home. His name is William, and he is 80 years old. Once needed, once loved. Now, just a body that gets in the way of those who have forgotten the word gratitude. William loved his family, he worked, lifted, sacrificed. He bought gifts for his children, and for himself, silence and old shoes. He believed that this was how it should be. Until that belief began to crack. The first crack was the cruelest. 40 years of marriage, 40 years of giving. His wife went to the warm islands. She cheated on him. She chose body and money. And then she disappeared. A year later came the news, an accident. She died along with her lover. And life left William alone with the children. Raised his children as best he could. William worked in the cold. William ate less so that his children could eat more. William believed that love would return. But love did not return. The first daughter grew up. A beautiful mind, languages, and a good job. At first she helped, then she disappeared. As if the past could be turned off. The second daughter chose men and alcohol. And when she brought yet another one home, she told her father to leave. Leave into the cold winter. William left and sat down. He looked at the snow, which seemed to try to erase him from the world, and fell asleep. After some time, a young woman passed by. 27 years old, named Emily. Emily could have turned away and passed by, like thousands do. Emily stopped. Emily did not see an old man. Emily saw a human being. She took off her jacket and covered him. Emily quietly said, "You will not freeze next to me. I will quickly return and bring you hot tea with warm buns. Just breathe." Emily returned after 10 minutes. Emily was holding a cup of hot tea and a bag of warm buns. She just placed everything nearby and sat down next to him. William woke up from the warmth. William saw the jacket. Saw her kind eyes. William realized that the world had not completely turned away. William tried to speak, but his voice trembled. Emily said softly, "No words are needed, just drink the tea and eat." The hot tea hit his chest. And along with the warmth, a tear came from within. Not for the cold, not for the night, but for the betrayal. He remembered his wife, who had abandoned him. The daughter who disappeared. The other daughter who drove him away. He had done everything right, but life thought otherwise. Emily listened. Emily did not ask. She simply gave him the right to speak. And then she said, "You will come with me, okay? I will not let you sleep outside in the frost." William slowly stood up. He went. They entered her apartment. One room and a small kitchen. But it smelled like home. Of the stove and buns. And of being not alone. William sat by the stove and stared at the fire for a long time. William said, "Old age is the cold that lives inside. And it cannot always be warmed by hands." But Emily stood nearby, and her kindness warmed him more than the stove. A terrible piece of news arrived. The second daughter who had driven him away had died. Alcohol, men, and a short life. William remained silent for a long time with tears. He only understood that time becomes thin, like ice. Emily placed a bowl of soup in front of him. Emily said, "You are not a burden. You are a person who needed to be heard. A person who cannot be abandoned." That night they celebrated New Year together. Just fire with silence and two people who would not let each other disappear. It was their first winter together. Months passed. William grew stronger, and his muscles felt support again. His breathing was no longer a shadow. William did not seek pity. He simply lived next to a person who had not passed him by. One day, There was an envelope in the mailbox. The handwriting was feminine and old-fashioned, like a letter from another life. It was written by William's first love, the one he had lost 40 years ago. She had been looking for him for a very long time, and she could not find him, until fate decided the time had come. She flew in. William met her in the park. His heart beat like it did in his youth, but his body already knew its age. They sat on the same bench where Emily had covered him with her jacket. Life loves circles, and sometimes it only returns those who are truly needed. One morning she said, "I will not have children. I was given time, but not a motherhood." William spoke about Emily, the girl who saved him in winter. And he said, "We will give a home to the one who gave it to me." They took Emily under their care, not out of formality, but out of gratitude. Out of the belief that family is those who hold you when you fall. Thus began their life together. Silence and warm food. They lived together, the three of them. And each knew the value of warmth. The hands that do not let go. And the hearts that have stopped fearing. As New Year approached, they celebrated it together, the three of them. This brought meaning and faith. Faith that one small, right action can change a person's life. Thank you for listening until the end. I share these real stories from the heart. Not for fame, and not for personal gain, but for those who want to hear and watch real, living and truthful stories about real people. Please support my channel. Just subscribe and like. I will understand that my real stories are interesting and meaningful for you, and that you truly want to listen to me. Always listen to my stories, so that the lives of the people in my real stories are not forgotten, and continue to live on. And then, ahead of you, there will be even more real stories. Look forward to the next story. Wishing you kindness, warmth, and peace in your families. From the heart. With great and warm respect to everyone. Storyteller, Joseph Carver.